Poker Stories is an audio series that features casual interviews with some of the game's best players and personalities. Each episode highlights a well-known figure in the poker world and dives deep into their favorite tales, both on and off the felt.
Welcome to Year 3 of Poker Stories, a podcast brought to you by Card Player, the Poker Authority, and hosted by me, Julio Rodriguez. This is episode number 53 with Jamie Kerstetter. Now, if you've been paying attention to the poker scene for the last few years, you've definitely noticed Jamie. In addition to playing poker on numerous live streams such as Poker Night in America and most recently Friday Night Poker, she has also become a regular in the commentary booth as well, lending her expertise to events at the Seminole Hard Rock, the Heartland Poker Tour, WPT Deepstacks, and even the World Series of Poker. The life that Jamie currently lives, however, is almost a complete 360, a 180 rather, from the life she had originally planned out for herself. Jamie was an athlete in New Jersey and played soccer and ran track at Rutgers before deciding on a whim to go to law school at Michigan. After going through that hell, she graduated, passed the bar, and took a job in New Jersey doing lawyer things for clients and whatnot. So how did that lawyer, the star of the company softball team, wind up leaving her law career behind to sit front and center as one of the emerging voices of the poker world? Well, let's find out in the interview. That's enough intro. Here's my conversation with Jamie Kerstetter. I am here with Jamie Kerstetter. Jamie, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. We're here in your new residence of Las Vegas, Nevada. Mm-hmm. You're officially a West Coaster now. That roommate you hear in the background playing with toys is your dog Crouton.
Yep. He likes the move so far. It's nice and warm. There's a bunch of sunny spots for him to lay in.
Yeah.
And he's avoiding winter, so yeah, we like it so far.
I was about to say, the animals probably like the weather a lot better.
Yeah.
Except for my pugs. Their faces are way too short to enjoy the Las Vegas desert. Jamie, I want to go back to the beginning and talk a little bit about who you are and where you came from. Let's talk a little bit about, what was it, Monroe Township?
Yep. So a little town in New Jersey, in the burbs. Grew up there, pretty quiet. Didn't play a lot of poker. Played a lot of sports, and went to Rutgers. And
well, let's not
slow
skip
down.
over the childhood.
There's not a whole lot going on there. I don't know.
Brothers or sisters?
Yeah.
You know,
I have an older sister, an older brother, and a younger brother.
So you were a middle child.
Yeah.
Did you have all of the typical middle child drama?
Oh yeah. I'm pretty sure they messed me up for life. My older brother and sister were close in age, and I was like 5 or 6 years younger. So I got to be like the one who gets beat on all the time.
Yeah.
I think that's why I'm like a very sarcastic human, because it's like the one thing I could do to fight back
Self-defense.
was like when I'm on the bus with them, I could make fun of them, and their friends would laugh at them, and I was like, all right, well, at least I'll earn my beating that I get later.
5, 6 years. That's not even a good gap for hand-me-downs.
No.
Like your hand-me-downs are out of style by that
Exactly.
point. You're just getting
I'm
and it's gone
nothing.
through 2 people, so it's like even worse.
No benefit, but it's just 2-on-1 beatings. That's about all I got from that. But other than that, and the Crouton's just gonna sabotage this whole interview.
That's all good.
Other than that, happy childhood. I took my beatings like a champ.
Mm-hmm. And what was little Jamie getting into?
Soccer. I was all about soccer and running and all that, and being a nerd. I was like a good student, stuff like that.
But you had a good motor, endurance.
Yeah. I ran track and played soccer at Rutgers, so that was what I was really into. That's why I didn't find poker for a while. I didn't have time for it.
What position did you play in soccer?
Right halfback.
Right halfback. Okay,
yeah.
So I'm picturing the field. You're just on the other side of midfield.
Yeah,
right.
And you run a lot. That's why it kind of combined the two. It was I think you do the most work when you're a halfback.
You don't get a lot of goal scoring opportunities though, right?
You're more of an assister than a goal scorer.
But I'm sure you had your fair share.
A couple.
Well, what was your career like at Rutgers?
Oh, I was kind of a scrub for them. So they were a Division I team.
Yeah, that's a big school.
Yeah, so I was pumped to even make the team. I walked on, I thought I'd have almost no chance of doing that. So that was really cool and a big accomplishment I was really happy with. But I actually didn't get a ton of playing time. I was mostly a sub.
But in high school, did you have you could have probably gotten a scholarship to go somewhere
get scholarships
smaller.
Other places, yeah.
What was the decision-making process there like?
So the colleges that offered me scholarships were like Division I, but not great schools. So I was going to be like the best player on a bad team, or I could try out for Rutgers and be the worst player on a really good team. And for me, I wanted there to be like some upward mobility and like, and you know, it didn't work out. Like I didn't end up being a starter or anything, but I got more playing time as the years went on. And then what actually happened was I was running track at Rutgers, and my coach on the track team said if I was willing to quit soccer and run cross country that I would get a scholarship because they needed another like decent girl on our team. So I did that my junior year and finished up as just a 3-season track athlete.
But they paid for your school.
Oh, it was pretty cool. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That was
what did you do in track?
I ran the mile and cross country and then the steeplechase.
What was your best event?
Or
at least impress me with a number here.
Kurtan
really wants to get on mic.
He wants to be on the mic so bad. I ran the mile in 5 minutes. And I was
5 minutes plus 5 minutes? What? Sorry, I'm putting my time on there. What's
Yeah, so that was my best.
5 minutes flat?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. But for cross country, it was like really satisfying. Because on soccer, I was a scrub. So I'm like, well, I'm kind of just like filling in when someone else gets tired. But on cross country, I was like the second or third fastest girl the last 2 seasons. And that was cool because then like my points always mattered, you know, like the way that they score it. So I was like, okay, in soccer, I'm like, I feel like I'm a non-event.
What was it, the top 6 from each team?
I think it was
points?
5.
Top 5.
And what's cool is like, my dog is taking out every single toy available right now. He is sabotaging us. My friend Julie Cully actually made the Olympics, and like I used to be her training partner, so I'd go out and like we'd kick each other's asses, and then she ends up making the Olympics. So I was like, that was really cool to have some tiny little part in her success.
I did cross country for 1 season, and I think I don't think I could ever crack 20 minutes.
Yeah. It's so cool to have done it because I think people don't realize how hard it is. Like I've played a lot of different sports.
Yeah, it's like 3.5 miles, 3
my hardest sport ever because mentally, like it's never going to be like, oh, it's easy. Like in soccer, you play a worse team. You're like, oh, an easy day. We won 5-0. Who cares? If you're running track and cross country the right way, it'll never be easy. You should always be nauseous when you're finishing, and like it's a very self-inflicted.
There's never a
like,
cupcake game. You're always playing yourself.
Yeah.
I like that. So always competitive growing up.
Yeah.
And you talked about your smarts. What was that about? Is
was
that why you
kid.
chose Rutgers over a different school, or?
So I chose Rutgers for soccer because I am an idiot. I got into like a couple really good schools, and I was more about sports than about school.
You're allowed to be well balanced.
Yeah. But yeah, my parents are both teachers, so that like instilled in me to do your homework and make sure like don't act up, all the stuff that like kids get into. I was terrified of coming home and getting in trouble. Like if a teacher called home, I was toast. Yeah. So I was kind of nerdy and got good grades. And
did you ever have one of your parents as your teacher?
No, they were in a different district.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah. Thankfully.
We had a couple kids like that growing up, and it was always very hard on them.
Yeah, because you just get picked on all the time, right?
Yeah, but I'm sure it wasn't the case. You were probably pretty popular, right?
What's funny is like at home, life was a nightmare, right? Like I'm getting beat up by my 2 older siblings, and at school I couldn't wait to go to school because like I got along with everyone there. Yeah. So I used to like bargain with my mom. I'd have a fever, and I'd be like, if it's not over 101, I'm going to school. She's like, what's wrong with you?
I have to keep my perfect attendance record.
That's what it was like because I was like, oh, I like being around the people at school, and like at home I just get beat up all the time. So I make it sound like I'm like traumatized, right? No, I just like really liked school and like.
But school came naturally to you, or?
Yeah, I just thought it was fun. I don't know, like I was always kind of nerdy, so.
Was the plan always law, or?
No.
You went to Rutgers with a soccer dream in mind?
Exactly. I wasn't thinking about anything. I was like, I'm gonna go to class. Like I got good grades. I think I had like a 3.8 or something like that. Like I was nerdy in school too, but without any focus. I was just like, okay, you like study for tests to try to get an A. And that's it. I wasn't like, this is building towards something else. I was always more into athletics than anything else.
School is a game, not necessarily
Yeah, and it wasn't and it was like that for law school too. I just was like, I'm going to take the LSAT, and I decided it maybe like at the deadline for signing up for it. And so I like...
Wow, so this is what, your junior year of college?
Yeah.
So you're that far along and you still don't really know what you want to do.
I was like, maybe I'll be a teacher, who knows? I was so into sports that I just didn't care about anything else. And then I attacked the LSAT like you would a game as well. I'm like, I'll study last minute for the last couple weeks that I can. And like I got a couple practice tests and did them. took it, got a good score, enough to go to University of Michigan. And then I was like, oh, I got into a top 10 school. I guess I'll be a lawyer then. Like, this is how stupid I was when I was like 18 or 19.
It's interesting. We just had Kelly Minkin on the podcast a couple episodes, 2 or 3 episodes ago. And her story was similar. She wanted to be a doctor, and she took the LSAT for fun on a whim and passed, or whatever passing means in the LSAT, and just said, screw it, I'll go to law school. So did you enjoy law school?
No. No. Like, law school, this is what's so crazy with letting...
Wait, so you graduate Rutgers.
Yeah.
What's your degree in?
I double majored in English and psychology.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have a backup plan.
Yeah.
And your goal is, okay, let's just go see how this law thing works.
Yeah, and I never had a lawyer in my family or anyone to warn me about what was about to happen to me. So I went to Michigan.
That sounds ominous.
Oh, it was. The first year of law school is awful. Like, I didn't even know. That's how ridiculous. Like, it's so well known that 1L year is bad for people. But I went out there not knowing that it was going to be so hard and so competitive. And the people that were in class with me were all very smart. So you have like an identity crisis. I'm like, okay, I'm not like a smart kid. I'm like the most average person in this school.
You're no longer the standout in your class.
Not at all. And like, I had to work really hard just to be average in this school. Like, they were all very smart and very hardworking. And this was like their dream. Like, that's what was so crazy. Everyone I talked to was like, I've been planning this for years, and my parents were lawyers, and I want to do this. And I'm like, wow, am I like outclassed in the drive that's needed to like succeed here? Because I was like, I'm like, school is cool. I like learning stuff. Like, I'll just come here and read more books, and like, I'm sure it'll be great. Yeah. And that's the mentality I had. So when I went out there, I was like, okay, so I'm not going to be a straight A student out here. Like, this is going to be a like do a bunch of work to survive type of thing. And you know, that was...
I remember hearing when I was in college that law school students weren't even allowed to get a job their first year.
Oh, that wasn't true at my school, but I actually like nannied for this one kid, because what was weird, I didn't even really like need the money. I just wanted something else going on in my life, because if all I had was law school, I was going to be really miserable. Because if you're competitive like me, I'm like, unless I'm getting the A in the class, I'm going to be kind of sad about it.
Yeah.
And I was not going to get the A in this class unless I like ate Adderall for breakfast and like hung out in the library all day, which like I liked having a social life. I liked playing sports, so that wasn't going to happen. So kind of I was a little bit ridiculous, and I decided I was going to play a bunch of intramural sports with the college students. I played like inner tube water polo, flag football, dodgeball. Like, I was doing more fun stuff than any other law student I know.
Crouton.
Should I lock him out?
No, it's
He's becoming a bit ridiculous. He has taken out every toy in this box that he never plays with.
He'll be the running theme throughout this podcast. All right, so you went from, what was it, Scarlet Knights?
Yep.
To Wolverines.
Yep.
Which is a big, I guess, regional shift for you. How'd you like Michigan?
The actual town of Ann Arbor is really cool. The weather was not my style at all. That was the only thing that was a bummer, is that like seasonal affective disorder is a real thing, and if you don't see the sun for like 7 months at a time, it gets really hard. But the actual town is really cool. Have you ever spent any time there?
No, I've never been to Ann Arbor.
It's really cool. The big house is amazing. There were 111,000 spectators whenever the team played, and like the whole thing would like shake and sway because people were like so into it.
I went to Florida, so I have a little bit of knowledge, but obviously I think Tennessee, Michigan, Ohio State might be bigger stadiums. Yeah, there's nothing quite like that, right?
Yeah, that was sweet too, because law students on the whole are very boring, hardworking people. And for Saturday games, though, they would just drop everything. So, like, the people who'd be in the library 12 hours a day would be drunk at 8 a.m. on Saturday. So that was kind of neat to, like, see people in, like, a different light and, like, get to make friends with people outside of school.
Yeah. Actually, the Wolverines are playing my Gators in the Bowl this year.
Oh, wow.
Good luck to...
Nice.
I don't really care. It's been too long since I've been in school. So, you're in Ann Arbor. And all of a sudden, somebody says, let's play some cards? Is that how it worked?
This is actually what I think got me really enamored with the game, is that it was my third year of law school. I was kind of like a very like average student there. I was getting a lot of B's and stuff, and I was like over it. I was like, I'm not going to be like a huge law school grinder. That's fine. I already had a job offer. I was going to be cool, and I got back to Jersey. I was like, all right, like let's find some fun stuff to do my last year. My friend's like, hey, let's play some poker. Let's have like a Wednesday poker game in the quad. It was like this little basement thing. I was like, all right, sure. Like, I don't really play much. I played in Atlantic City like maybe once or twice, but I was like, sure, we're only playing like $20 buy-in, no big deal. So we start playing this game, and I was just good. Like, I was, like, figuring it out and would win every week.
Yeah.
And, like, when I say every week, like, every single week, I'd be, like, buying for 20. I'd, like, make, like, $50 or something and, like, go back to my room, and I'm like, oh, my God, I'm beating these smart people at something.
This is, like 07, 08?
Yeah, 07.
So this is post-Boone.
Yeah,
you know,
I played a tiny bit online. Like, I put, like, $50 on, like, Paradise Poker and Party Poker, and I would, like, play their little sit-and-goes, and while I was reading my law stuff, I always like multitasking, so I'd just be sitting there folding jacks minus and just trying to cash, and like that's all you had to do to cash those things back then.
Back when it was printing money.
Yeah.
Just to wait for aces.
Yeah, so that kind of like made me love the game, is that like these people that were going to get better grades than me and like had more passion for law than I did, who were probably working at fancier firms the next year or whatever, I was like, well, I'm beating you guys at cards for $50 a week. Like, I'll take it. I'll take my 1 W.
Yeah, that works. So, at what point did you say, hey, I can make money at this?
Around then, like, probably a few weeks into this game, I'm like, oh, the casinos in Detroit are only, like, 30 minutes away. I'm like, so one of my friends in the game, like, why don't we go there, like, every Friday night? So we started making trips to Greektown Casino, and I always won there. Like, it's impossible, like, even with the easy games, to, like, have a winning streak that good. But it was like that. I just felt like I was like, I go there, I risk 200, I make 500. Risk 200, make 500. And clearly I was running good. I didn't know what running good or playing good was then. But, like, I must have been running good to, like, never lose. But we would just, like, drive home, and I'd be like, oh, this is a nice little side gig. Or, like, I can pay for some stuff. Like, I could buy my friends drinks or whatever with, like, the extra money. And that was cool, but like...
But when that's happening, you realize that there's different types of personalities when something like that happens. Some people go, oh, look, I can do this every weekend and make some money on the side like you did. And some people go, oh, let's move up to the next table.
Yeah,
or the
and
next table, or roll this up.
I didn't have that. Like, I was just so happy to, like, have a fun activity that I could afford the time and energy into, because like law school was still busy. Even with the third year, I'm like, I still have to worry about like keeping my grades up enough to keep my job, and it wasn't ever a thing where like that was not a thing in my family. Like, there's no way I could call home and be like, listen, I just sunk in $100K into student loans, but you know what, I think I'm a poker player now. Like, my mom would be like, you have 3 months left, are you out of your effing mind? Like, so that wasn't even a question. Like, I was going to finish school, I was going to work as a lawyer, but I thought it was just a cool new hobby to pick up that like as I'm getting older and like athletics aren't really a thing I can do as much anymore, I'm like, this is a cool new competitive thing to be good at.
Nice little competitive outlet for you.
Yeah.
So you graduate past the bar in New Jersey?
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure if you have to take it in Michigan or not.
No, just Jersey. That was a nightmare. That test is, because man, you have to study. It's like 3 months long of studying for that test. So that sucked. Got it out of the way. Everything was cool.
Wait, so for people who aren't familiar, you graduate from law school.
Some people graduate and never become lawyers.
That's what
how
I'm
hard
saying, right?
It is
Like,
to
because
study.
it's not your graduation from law school isn't contingent upon passing a bar.
So you can graduate law school. That's the risk of going to like a not great school. So some people, like, if someone wants to go to law school, they can go to law school. There are tiers of schools where like the bottom tier will just be like, hey, you're interested and will pay money, come to law school. And that's a problem, because people will pay the money, go through school, and have no ability to pass the bar. And that sucks for them, because you might spend a ton of money, be in debt, and never get to realize any value from that degree that you get. So yeah, it's a bummer, but thankfully passed it. Was
it a nightmare? Like,
a guy across from me cried.
Really?
I was in New Jersey. Guy sitting across from this long table, like everyone is there. It's like a 3 days actually. Like, there's multiple choice, and there's essays, and there's like, there's a lot. So this is a long time ago. I'm trying to jog my memory. One thing that stood out was a guy that was across from me for like 2 or 3 days. We get handed these booklets. You get 5 booklets that you have to fill out in essay questions for.
Okay.
He must have filled out 3 full booklets. You're just writing till your hand is numb. He gets the 4th one, reads the question, and is staring at it. And I'm like not looking for a little while. And then I noticed this guy's just not doing anything. So I'm like interested at this point. I keep looking up. He puts his pencil in, closes the book, puts his head down, and starts sobbing.
Oh my God.
I was like, oh my God. I'm like, you can't say anything because like it would be cheating, but I wanted to like kick him and be like, dude, just write anything. Like, you've been here for like 2 days straight. Like, literally write down buzzwords that you know from your classes in there. I'm like, if they give you 1 point out of 10 points, you still at least have a chance. He didn't. He sobbed. He didn't even open his last booklet, and that was it for him.
Do you know what the question said? Do you all have the same
I don't
question?
remember it. It was like, so
this was a clear case of he didn't know the answer.
Yeah, but like
not like this
answer,
question triggered a deep repressed
like,
memory.
Right. That would be funny. He's like, oh my god.
He's like, this question murdered my mother.
It's like a criminal law question. He's just like, oh my god. Yeah, it jogged terrible memories. That would be so tragic. But no, I think he just was like, I'm never passing this. I don't feel like doing this, and just like put it down. But God, that was hard to see. But yeah, like it all went okay. I worked for a year and a half at one big law firm that laid off all the first years. So like everyone,
so
I was
you
like
become
the last
a lawyer.
One. Yeah.
You live the dream. What was your experience like as a lawyer?
I would have still been in it forever. This is what's so crazy about like making people decide their lives when they're like 18 or 19, take on a bunch of debt and whatever. I was at this really good firm in Hackensack, New Jersey. People were really nice people, but they work you pretty hard, and I was very nervous. I used to wear a mouth guard to bed because I grinded my teeth because of the stress of like having, like I was writing wills and doing trust and estates. So I worried about making mistakes a lot. Like I was like, oh man, like, okay, I got to make sure this is all right. Cause this is like, people are like giving
dealing
millions
of dollars
away, a lot of money, a lot of like
relatives.
Really, right. It was a big, really good firm. So like with a really good estates department. So we had clients who were literally, I had a client that had $1 billion and I'm like doing their estate plan, and I'm just like, I really hope someone's checking my work because I still feel like a kid inside.
Yeah.
Like I was 23 or something when I started at this firm, and I was like, I don't feel like this is something I should be trusted with yet, but they're like, you're great, we like you, you're doing a great job. I'm like, please check my work. Yeah. So that
put on a suit in the morning, you're like, this is a weird soccer outfit.
It was super weird. Yeah, like I'd wear my suit to work feeling like a total fraud, and then other people would like kind of affirm that feeling because like I'd meet a client and they'd be like, oh, are you the secretary or a paralegal? I'm like, I'm your lawyer, believe it or not. And I felt like, you know, they were like, wow, you're...
Just because you were young looking?
Yeah, I looked really young when I was like in my early 20s, and like, I don't know.
You still look very young.
Oh, thank you. But then
I would trust you with my legal work at this point.
Yes. But that was kind of a weird thing. And then I survived. This is actually funny. It all comes into sports. They were laying off the first years and second year attorneys in waves, and I made it to the very last wave because I was the only girl that played on their softball team, and they needed a girl. So I was like, I think I made an extra like $30K at this firm just from being their like second baseman, which is hilarious. But like that's how life works, right? I'm like, I became
How
friends
did that
with them,
conversation go? Was it just like
I knew it was coming. I was like one of only maybe 2 of the people who started with me left. And the other person was like connected. They had like they worked, I don't know if it was their uncle or someone works there. So I was like, okay, I don't feel particularly safe. But they just said like banks were their major clients. They had like 3 major banks that it was during like banking crisis and everything.
Yeah.
They lost a ton of work for that, and like it affected every single department. So they came to me and they were just like...
you couldn't have graduated at a worse time.
It was horrible. Yeah. So, but I already had the job locked up. So I was like, I'm fine. I was like, I'm sure they could have still like canned me.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there were fellow graduates of yours who couldn't even get that first job.
Probably. But yeah, it wasn't very shocking. Like, I remember like tearing up a little bit because I had like worried about it every day, and I was like, oh, this is like the worst. But then as soon as the conversation was over, I got like a severance package. I went and slept on my friend's couch in Chicago to like get out of that situation for a little while and just like experience different things and like not worry about it. I was out there for a week before I was just like, this is awesome. I'm like, I got a severance package. I don't have to wake up at 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm like chilling. And I like put out some resumes, but then I was like, man, this is like the perfect opportunity after like working so hard in school, working so hard at that job, to like go play poker. I'm like, I'm just gonna go. It was like around the time like Borgata Open, and I went to
And you hadn't been playing as a lawyer?
I played online. I was like doing well online. I was playing like 180 mans and stuff. Yeah. But that was like to wind down at the end of the day. Like it would be like 7 or 8 p.m. when I'd get home, and I'm like make dinner or like go to the gym or something, and then I just like play a little poker before bed. Yeah. Just to do something for myself.
Something not law related.
Yeah. But that was kind of cool that like I went to Chicago, hung out, like cleared my mind, and then came back and I'm like, what's this Borgata Winter Open? What is this? I'm like, I'll go check that out. And I didn't even play any tournaments. I didn't know really like what to even do. So I went there and I played sit and goes. They had like sit and goes in the tournament area. And like, I think I might have won like $500. I'm like, I could do this. Like, so stupid, right? Just like no clue what doing this means. Not any idea if I'm going to be a sit and go online player, tournament grinder, a live cash player. But I was like, whatever. I saved some money working, and I'm like, I'll just like figure it out. So that's what I did for like a couple years. It was kind of fun.
How much of it was like, I get to be my own boss, I get to set my own hours, I don't have to wear the suit?
A lot, but like honestly 90% of it was I get to sleep.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have the stress of like, I used to wake up in the middle of the night feeling like, oh my God, I need to do something, I need to bill hours. Like it was psychotic, because like if you're a competitive person and then you're a lawyer, it's like a terrible combination of just like workaholic stuff, like where it would be, I would take one day off a week, and on that day I'd be like, I know there's something I could bill today. And that was so dumb, because then you come back on Monday and you're like burnt out from your day off. You don't feel like, I was like doing a worse job by being like so neurotic about everything. But yeah, like that was nice to just be like, I get to sleep, I can go to the gym, I have like energy for stuff, I had a social life again, I was like dating again. Like as a lawyer, I like felt like that was so non-existent in my life. I was just like, the concept of a date sounds fun, but like the time for it and everything, and like just wasn't there.
Still, I'm interested in the idea of, you've put a lot of money into this education and a lot of time, a lot of tears, a lot of sleepless nights. You never felt pot committed to being a lawyer?
I mean, what a mistake that would be, right? Like if you're just like stressed out.
Oh
like,
yeah, that's what an enlightened person says. I want to know how you found that enlightenment.
I don't know. I think like I just realized that chasing losses is bad. Like what if I just was like, PLO, gotta make it work. Well, I lose every single time, but like I've spent so much time losing, I should continue losing.
That's what I do.
That's like, as a lawyer, I just never felt quite myself too. Like I think that was part of it, where I was like, I feel like I'm faking at this job, that like this isn't something I'm passionate about, but it's something that requires so much of my time. It's like, what a nightmare at the end of my life. I was like, oh, the thing I cared the least about is where I spent most of my time. So it was kind of easy to like make the break, but I also don't regret it that much, like, which maybe sounds crazy to say you put $150K of money and 3 years of time and then whatever, but my best friend from law school, I still think he's like one of the best people I've met. I learned a lot. I like trained for a marathon there, and I really got into that. Like I made a ton of friends, and also like learned to think. That's not like a weird like hokey thing that people say. Like I definitely became way more logical in law school. Like you have to learn to, in class they would do Socratic Method. They just be like, Miss Kerstetter, what do you think about this? And you have to answer. You can't be a shy person. Like there's no shy people that make it through law school. They quit. Yeah. And also
frequent fans of this podcast will remember a story from Jared Jaffe on the Socratic Method. I encourage you all to go back and listen to that one.
Oh, sweet. I'll have to check that out. But something very cool about that is like you have to come out of your shell. You don't have a choice. And I feel like that like helped me a lot to be a little more outgoing and less nervous. And you also learn to adopt an argument and argue it with all your heart, whether you actually agree with it or not. They'd say, this person made this argument, counter it. And I'd be like, I agree with them 100%, but I have to find the holes in their argument now. And like, you have to argue the other side Devil's as if you believe it. And that's really cool when you're like actually thinking of something that you want to present to someone, or like your own argument. You have to like, you take everything and you find the holes in it, and you have to like shore them up yourself. So that was cool, like to learn these things and like,
or maybe you want to run a bluff. That's believable.
Yep.
A believable bluff, you know, got to make an argument.
True.
So you're playing poker. It's going well enough that you don't need to immediately go sign up at the next law firm. Yeah. What was those initial first days like? What were you doing? Just online grind or?
A tiny bit of online, and like it was great because I was definitely a depositor at first for maybe like the first 6 months. I remember just being like, that's where I would move up. You were wondering why I never moved up at Greektown Casino. I'd try moving up online. I'd be like playing small sit and goes. I'd run my $50 into $300 and be like, let's play $100 sit and goes. Because I just felt like it was entertainment.
Have 3 bullets.
It was almost like online shopping to me, like where I was just like, yeah, like putting on $50 every like 2 weeks, who cares? Like I'm making a few hundred at casinos, like this is fun. And I would do it like that, and like it didn't bother me to be losing online, like at a really, really slow rate. So that's what that was like. But like by the time I had gotten laid off, I was like, okay, now we have to win. Like this isn't a thing where like I have 700, let's play a $500 tournament. Like I was playing things that were like, I was doing the best bankroll management that I knew how to do without talking to any other poker players. I was like, all right, 700, I could play a $50 tournament. Like I was doing things like that. I didn't.
14th of your bankroll, believe
to me,
it or
I was
not,
like,
is pretty responsible by poker player standards.
Back in the day, yes, conservative. I remember I was at home at my mom's house in Monroe for like maybe a week. I was just like, let's visit family and chill out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I entered a $50 freeze out on Stars, and I won it. And I won $9,000. And I was just looking at my bankroll like on the screen, just being like, I now have like $9,080. Like, that's kind of what I was doing. I couldn't believe it. I actually woke my mom up and I was like, is this real? Like, how do I get this money out? She's like, oh, I wouldn't count your chickens before they're hatched. She's like, this seems, because to her, she was a teacher. Like, she's like, that would have been like 20% of my salary for the year. She's like, could that really be real? And like, when I finally got the money out, I like showed her, I was like, I just really won this money. Like, this is ridiculous. And that was like the start of me being like, I want to play online. Like, this is cool. You can turn a tiny amount of money into like a massive amount of money. And so that's kind of what I did from like, I want to maybe like February to May. And then I started like meeting poker players. I'd go to Borgata once in a while. I'd go to Tropicana once in a while. And like, that was something cool as a girl at the table. Like, you get talked to a lot more. So I got like some good and terrible advice from people. But also I found a couple of friends that like I actually liked who got me grinding in New York City. We play underground games, and they were the easiest games I've ever played in my life. Like, they were just people who'd come home after work in their suits, lose $1,000, repeat.
So these weren't shady, like, drug dealers?
Not shady drug dealers. They were mostly people with jobs who were terrible at poker.
Yeah.
I was terrible at poker. They were extra terrible at poker.
That could have been you.
That's
if you had never, point. You could have been that lawyer just coming home in the suit, like, I gotta unwind and lose all my money. The person who goes,
hey, I make $120K a year. Like, I'm never folding a flush draw. Are you kidding me? Like, that's kind of the people I was playing with. And those people got me into like this idea of like, go play the World Series. So that was the next thing. I brought $2,000 out there. I thought that was like an adequate bankroll to like go. I was like, I'm going to spend 2 weeks. I'm going to play a couple little tournaments. I get out there and I'm like, how much do these tournaments cost? Like that much of a fish. Like, where I was just like, wait, they're $1,000 to buy into? Like, I'm used to that online. I'm like, I'm paying $50.
There was the internet back
but
then.
I wasn't trying to like be a poker player. I was trying to like not lose the money I had. So that I had to go back to work right away.
Oh, that's an important distinction. Yeah, you're right. You were on vacation and you were trying to prolong it.
Yes, that was the only thing that was the goal.
That's what you're doing now.
Yep. So like, I was like, I'm going out for 2 weeks. I'm not buying a return flight. I'll see how it goes. Maybe I lose my money in 5 days and I come home in 5 days. I was not going to re-up. That was it. I went out there and played Venetian. It was like a 400. I cashed it for like 1,200. I'm like, bankroll's up. Let's go.
Yeah.
Like, then I played like the next one.
I'm still nervous for your bankroll at this point in the story.
You should definitely be nervous for my bankroll. Like, I didn't even know to be nervous for it. I cashed a 600 like the next week. And I just remember being like, this is pretty cool. Like, put money in, take more money out. This is how poker works. What a dream. And I did that for 2 months. Like, literally, every time that I was about to go home, I would make like $2,000. And I was like, this is pretty sweet. I made a deep run in a WSOP event. Because, of course, by this time, I have like $5,000. How could you skip a 1,500? So I played a 1,500. I cashed it for, I think it might have been like 7 or 8K, maybe 10K, I don't know. But
oh man, that's a
I didn't even have the sweat, though. I wasn't even like, I might win a bracelet. I wasn't an idiot. I was just like, I am a fish and I'm running good. And like, every time I put chips in, they give me more chips. I was like, this is great. And I end up just like doing well that summer and coming home with like, I want to say maybe 20K. Of course, I'm not going to miss a 2K when I get home. There happened to be a massive overlay at Mohegan Sun. They had it right after the main event for the World Series. So no one has money left.
Yeah.
And my friend goes, there's going to be an overlay. I'm like, don't know what that is, but I'm going with you. We go there. I think they had, it might have been a 500K. Yeah, exactly. There might have been a 500K guarantee. It was like a 200K overlay. I final table that because, of course, that makes sense.
Sorry for Mohegan.
I cashed for like 22K. When I deserved about negative 1K.
Double your bankroll.
Yeah, so I ended up having a 40K bankroll from 2K with 0 skills and just all the heart.
0 skills, you say that, but I also talked to you a few years ago and you said you were reading books.
Yeah, I was trying, but come on. Like, think of like how much of a head start everyone else had on me, though. They're like trying to be poker players. I'm trying to be on vacation.
Yeah.
So I wasn't, like, I read a ton of books. Like, that was the only way that I knew to learn, and I started posting on 2+2. My friend who I played in New York with was like, hey, check out like high stakes MTTs. And I would read everything. And once in a while I'll post a hand history, just learning how to even tell a hand history. So that was really cool to like have my like learning period be a time when I actually ran okay too. Because then, like, instead of losing my whole severance package in this deal, I end up making 2K into 40K and being like, well, I can do this for longer now. That's cool.
Well, that actually is the common story of a lot of poker players, right? We're all kind of here because we ran good at the beginning.
Yep. Because who is going to be like, hey, I found this really cool new recreational activity that takes all my money and
just
leaves me poor.
JRB.
Yeah.
Just JRB. He's the only one ever that I've been on this podcast and admitted he lost like his first 50 sessions.
Yeah.
Like he sunk like 20 grand into poker before he liked it.
He's just like a huge masochist or something.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess so. But that's why he's the best. All right. So now you're a poker professional.
Yeah.
What does mom and dad say to that shocking news?
Yeah. So this is what's tough. My first year of law school, my dad passed away unexpectedly, which was like the worst. Because like that was also selfishly, let me just say that was the worst year of my life already. Just basically moving where I had no friends and didn't know the area. Getting an identity crisis from it by being like, you're not the smart kid, you're not the anything. You're just like the most average person here. I was like, oh, this is brutal.
Fish, big pond.
Yeah. Then I go home for spring break. My dad has a heart attack unexpectedly. I gave him CPR. It was like I had taken a CPR class the last year, so I was like,
it happened in front of you,
dude. But that's like the best thing that could have happened for my mom is that I was home and I was certified in CPR. Nothing could have been done. That was something where I'm like, it's a traumatic thing to have happened to me, but like honestly, if I wasn't home, I would have felt worse about it. So that was
now
horrible.
at least you have the peace of mind to know you did everything you could.
Yeah, and she doesn't have to worry about something like that. So that was terrible, but it was hard on my mom because then
you would have been forgiven for dropping out of law school at a certain point, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But I went through all that, and like she has had a hard time, maybe even still with poker, with feeling like I was on this path to have this very normal, successful life where I'd be like probably kind of rich, whatever, achieving, on paper, achieving things like people think is really good. And then I like kind of left it behind for poker. Yeah. And it has been hard for her to like realize this is not your fault. This is like what kids do. Like you find your own path, and like I was never going to be a person who sat in a law office for like 50 years and was happy about it.
Right.
So like I think I'm happier now, but I know that was tough on her. Like when I first was like, hey, I'm going to play poker for a while. She's like, oh my God, if your dad were alive, this would never happen. I'm like, yes, it would. I was always going to be like someone chasing a fun life.
Would she listen to this interview?
Maybe.
Well, maybe
she supports me. She's
if
like,
she is, let's. If I could give her a message, let's go back to what you said earlier about being able to sleep at night.
Yeah.
And not have to think about
that
work.
Too. And,
you know the stress. Listen, I work in the poker industry, but even in the middle of the night, I'm thinking about the next story.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the next deadline that I have to hit. So my nights are not the greatest.
Yeah.
But poker, you don't really have to take your job home with you.
No, you don't. And like it has its own stress, obviously. Like you talk to enough people, like I've had some like real peaks and valleys in this job.
Yeah.
Like this is a hard thing, but I have always like chosen the job, whereas like I think other people don't like actively choose their job. They just go, well, I get up every day if I don't want to get fired, so then we just keep doing this. You never actually like sit back and assess if like this is a thing you want in your life. Where with poker, like you choose it every time you go to play. I'm like, I'm gonna go play at Aria tonight. Like I'm choosing poker today. And if I ever get to a point where I'm like, I have no motivation to play this game anymore. I don't want to commentate anymore. I don't want to like blog. I don't want to do anything. I'll stop and I'll do something else.
Yeah.
Where people don't have that luxury in their regular jobs because they end up having like benefits. People, they have a salary. You can't be like, hey, I had a week-long freak out and decided to not work anymore, but can you please take me back? With poker, you can do that, and you can like always like choose it again. I think that's like a really big benefit that like I realized from being a lawyer that like this is a cool part of our job now.
Yeah. I think every parent just wants their kid to have life on easy street. You know what I mean? As easy as it could be to work 60-hour weeks, put the suit on, and
that was tough too.
Grind your
like,
teeth at night.
I would sometimes have to like call out of like home activities, like they'd be like, oh, or like my nephew's christening, and I'm like, sorry, like a client just like dumped something on my desk and there's nothing I could do. Like that always felt kind of crappy, where I was like, is this gonna be my life? Like even when you're a partner, it's still your life. If you want to do a really good job, you have to be accessible at all times. I had the stupid little BlackBerry on me at all times, and like when I got laid off, I was like, take it. Like I do not want this thing ever again. To have it ping, like when you're doing something else, your train of thought is always ruined by like having to be like, oh, gotta answer this real quick.
Poker players get holidays off if they want to.
Yeah.
If they want to.
Yep.
All right. So, obviously, you're playing poker. Black Friday hits. They hit you kind of hard, right?
It was ridiculous.
You had to move to Mexico.
I think this is the funniest thing that ever happened to me, though. I thought about quitting. So I had gotten another legal job. I applied for one job after playing poker for like 2 years because I was like, I don't think this is like, I never call myself a professional poker player. I didn't really.
You were still on vacation.
Yeah, I was still on vacation. I was like, this is cool, but you know, this isn't what I'm doing forever. I applied for one job because it was a part-time job doing estate planning at a good firm, this little firm, and they offered good pay, and I was like, wow, so for like 25 hours a week, I can do the same thing I was doing before, but like no stress. I'm like, try to get me up at 5:30 in the morning when I only have to work 25 hours a week. I was like, I would be sleeping till 9 and like doing this. I started this firm and they were like, after 2 weeks, they're like, we have great news. We're making you full-time with benefits. They're like, this is going great. I'm like, thank you. As sad as could be. But I was just like, all right, I didn't know how to say no.
Actually, I prefer the old gig.
Exactly. I didn't know how to say no because they
all had,
can I
do less?
Kids and stuff. I was like, I don't have a reason to say no to this. Like, it's, I don't know, it sounds lazy to say no. So I ended up taking that. And then I worked there for like 9 months or maybe a little more. I thought about quitting for like the last 3 months. I was just like, God, this is so boring and I don't want to do this. I finally quit. And then Black Friday happens.
Oh,
like,
my
I had
God.
built up my bankroll on Full Tilt to like 40K. And I was starting to talk to the right people, and I was starting to like feel like I'm getting a poker clique that's going to make me succeed, and that people that like I can tell them hand histories and they'll like tell me the truth and make me better. So that's where I was, and I'm like, you know what? I finally have enough money where I am quitting. And I tell them, and I was like explaining the whole thing. I was like, I really like your firm, but like I'm really into poker, and like that's what I want to do instead. And they're like, okay, like
they called your mom, they brought her in.
They like didn't get it, but they're like, okay, like no problem. And then I think it was about a week later, where I'm still 2 weeks at that firm. I was finishing up all the stuff for clients and everything. My boyfriend at the time calls me and he goes, you won't believe this. And I was like, what happened? I thought something was really wrong. He goes, when I log on to Full Tilt, this message comes on that like the government's like seizing this domain or something and whatever, and he's like, this is really scary. I'm like, okay, I'll come home at lunch. I come home at lunch and open it. I'm like, no. I was like, this cannot be true. And I freak out, but it's like too late. I've already quit my job. So I was like, well, I guess we'll be live poker players for a while. And I did actually play. I'm trying to think where was my main, maybe Borgata or whatever, but like I played for like 3 months live before being like, this isn't what I want to do. What am I going to do now? Like, because I was mostly playing online at that time.
Yeah. So it was Mexico or bust?
Yeah, so I waited like 6 months. I think I was like in denial. Like, I think a lot of poker players actually did that. They were just like, anyone who had like a little bit of a cushion to like sit on and spend money were kind of like hanging around being like, okay, government, good joke. Like,
yeah, there were a couple weirdos out there who were like, I'm going to Amsterdam tomorrow. And I was like, okay. And then
right
they did
away,
it.
Dude.
And then now they still live there. And I'm like, what? How did they have the foresight?
Still live in Rosarito who like knew that that's what was going to happen, that like it was going to be.
Right, they jumped immediately. Like, how did you know?
Yeah. And I just like think they were just like smarter than me. Like they're like, the government doesn't move quickly. So if they say this thing is frozen, like it's frozen. They're not going to just be like tomorrow, like we got it all solved and everything's cool. Go play poker again. But I didn't really know that. And like, I think I waited like 6 months, maybe more, of playing like live poker and just kind of sitting around waiting for something to happen before joining some friends in Rosarito and living there on and off for like a year and a half.
Yeah. How did you like your time in Mexico?
Loved it.
Yeah.
It was just so nice. The weather is good every day. It's like San Diego weather. It's like easy to be healthy there. They weren't as like fast food oriented, so I felt like I was just like getting in better shape just from being deprived of all the crap that we eat here.
Even if you get street tacos every day, that's still better than McDonald's.
Oh yeah, this place Lenador was like a quarter-mile walk, and it was $2 burritos that would like last you the whole entire day. It was amazing. Like that was the other thing, is like I felt like a lot of people went out there and kind of chilled out because you just didn't have to grind as hard. Your cost of living is like 30% of what it would be like in the US.
Yeah.
So you go out there and you're like, well, now I have a lot more free time. I don't have to like grind poker super hard to make it work.
Yeah. So these days, what is your split like as far as cash, tournament, online? What do you like the most? What would you do if it was your choice?
Okay. That's a good thing, and it's my choice. Isn't that like the nice part?
Sorry, Mom.
Yeah, sorry, Mom. I play online probably 4 or 5 nights a week, just like grind the tournament schedule, play some of those like blast tournaments for fun.
Wherever you happen to be in the world at that time?
No, because I mean I'm playing WSOP.com.
Right, but if you happen to be in New Jersey, you can play there.
Yeah, if I'm in New Jersey, I play all those sites. If I'm here, I play online. And then I probably go to Aria twice a week, play live cash. When that gets annoying, come back here, play online.
What do you mean when that gets annoying?
Like, when there's times when like you have to be in the right mindset.
Are the tourists bothering you these days?
No. I think part of it, like, I have to feel very social to go there because like people do just talk to girls more. I'm not like complaining about it. It's just a thing that just happens. Like they expect girls to be more chatty and stuff, so they'll like talk you up a lot more. So if I'm like feeling very social, like I want to get out of the house and stop staring at a screen, I go play cash. And then like when that wears off, when I'm like, okay, now I want to be like a little introvert again, I come back here.
Yeah.
Also,
how much do men suck? You could rant a little bit.
So no, like I think people have gotten better, and that's like definitely true. I think back about all like the little run-ins I've had with people over the years.
People telling you to smile more.
Dude, just dumb shit. Like a guy called me a stupid bitch for check raising him once. Like it's gotten ridiculous like that before, but not in a long time. And I think there's a lot of different factors. I think like, puppy, cut it out. I think that women aren't as much of a novelty in poker anymore, so it's not like, oh my god, like, we need to talk to this person, like, figure out their whole life story. How could they have ended up in this, like, seedy place? Like, that's how I feel like it used to be. Like, I'd sit down and they'd be like, whoa.
Yeah,
like,
now we have professional lawyers coming into the game.
But yeah, it's not as much of a novelty, so I feel like it's not like they have to figure out my whole life story and ask me 1,000 questions. I don't get that anymore, and I feel like I also am a regular enough to be less of a target. Like when I first started playing, I looked very nervous. I didn't know any of the people, so if some guy was a misogynist and had a problem with me being there, he's like, oh cool, like it's one-on-one, like she doesn't have anyone to help her, let's just like you know, whatever they want to do, which is like make little comments or whatever. They can't do that anymore because like I have more of a backbone now, and like I'm not gonna put up with it. Everyone knows you. They're gonna
be like, "What? Why is this guy talking shit to Jamie?"
Yeah, maybe like it's more of a team activity.
Should we kill
now.
him?
But I think that shows like when you have a little more confidence and you're not going to put up with shit. Like, you definitely have an aura about you. Like there's people who just don't look intimidated anymore, and I feel like I'm in that camp now. Not to say that there aren't people who get under my skin. Like sometimes someone will say some things. I used to be told, oh, I bet her boyfriend's finishing her tournaments, things like that. And like I was like, that will still get under my skin, but it's also like that's their problem. Like there's nothing I can do to like educate some guy who's going to be an idiot his whole life. So that's fine. Like, I have to just separate myself from that and be like, that's this guy's problem. There's nothing I can do.
But not too many horror stories at the table?
No, like, not anymore. I feel like I'm on easy street now. I just, like, go in there and chill out. And, like, besides being talked to a little more than, like, the average person, I haven't really been, like, mistreated or, like, called names or anything.
Do you feel like it's to your advantage sometimes?
Sometimes. I was like, if anything that makes someone, like, play a different game is good, because it's like if someone's always gonna play a certain way, they're like used to being in that spot a lot, whatever. If I like take them off their game a little bit because like, ooh, I really want to beat this girl, like they're not used to that, and like that's good for me.
I just feel like it would be exhausting to constantly be evaluating whether this asshole is playing back at you because he doesn't like women, or playing back at you because he has it, or folding because he wants to treat you better or something. You know, like that just seems so exhausting to me, whereas you know, I just put my hoodie on and everyone just assumes I'm bluffing on it.
I do think that sometimes I like see that where I'm just like, wow, it'd be really cool to be like completely anonymous. Like I do like long for that once in a while, but also like it shouldn't change my game that much. Like if I'm playing and like GTO, I'm nowhere near GTO, but like as long as I have a solid strategy that works, like if I have like solid opening ranges, I know what kind of hands I want to 3-bet and whatever, and like that shouldn't change that much. So like someone's feelings about me shouldn't change my game that much. And like if someone is a complete idiot and they're going after me, I'm like, cool, I'll just like tighten up my ranges and like have a better hand than you. Like go ahead, come after me. I have jacks, you know, like who cares? I thought of one really funny thing that happened recently. But the guy was just so like, he has no ill will. He's just an idiot. I've played like 2 orbits at this table already. He hasn't looked up. He looks up and goes, oh, hi, lady. And I'm like, hi. I'm like, what's going on? And he goes, is your something about my husband? He goes, is your husband playing? And I was like, no, I don't have one. And he's like, oh, and he goes, oh, do you play poker? I'm like, I've played 2 orbits here. Yeah. He thought I was like holding someone's seat. It like blew his mind that I'm playing with the chips in front of me.
What sanctuary was this guy from?
And like that's like so funny because I'm like,
did he think he woke up in a locker room?
Exactly.
And was like...
I was like, this is so weird. And at Aria, like that's the place where I find most women play. Like they really like it there. It's very comfortable. So I'm like, I can't believe the first female you've seen playing poker. But to him, it blew his mind. He thought I was, like, playing my husband's chips or something. And I just was, like, shaking my head. I'm like, this guy can't be good at poker. Like, he hasn't looked up in 2 orbits, and he just, like, is shocked a girl is playing.
Little did you know, he's your biggest fan. And he knows this is the only way he can tilt you.
he got on the podcast. He did it.
All right. We got some rapid-fire questions.
All right.
If you're ready. Biggest pot you've ever won or lost, equity or cash?
Okay, there's got to be some tournament ones that I can't remember, but in cash, I was playing way over my head in Poker Night in America as usual, and I think it was like a 14K pot or something where I won jacks over ace 5 suited, where Kelly like 4-bet bluffed it into me. So like a 14K pot, that was
all in pre.
Yeah, that was.
How many runs?
2.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we ran it twice. Yeah, scoop. So that was pretty cool.
Nice. Nice. You've done pretty well on those streams, right? What's your stream record?
I think
I just saw you on Facebook's
I win
Friday
and
Night
lose
Poker.
such small amounts, but like the games where I've won a lot. So like that's kind of cool. I feel like I have like a 50-50 record, but I think I'm probably up like 10 or 20K just on like having some big wins on those.
Let's talk a little bit about the commentary work you've been doing, because it feels like it's been a few years now, where you've been on pretty much every tour.
Yeah.
WPT Deepstacks, Heartland Poker Tour, Poker Night in America. You just did one for Hard Rock last week. How are you liking the I guess, what do you call it, the play-by-play? Or?
Yeah, I like it so much. It's really cool because I used to be a very, like, scared person. Like, this is where I think law school has helped. Like, things in my life have, like, built up to making me not shy, and I thought I would always be shy. Like, through high school, I was just, like, I would sweat it if I had, like, a report in front of the class next week. I would start sweating it like a week in advance. I'm like, oh my god, and I'd be like shaking nervous. And then it was just a really cool realization this summer after doing like the ESPN commentary for 2 days that I was like, I was not nervous. Like I was nervous driving there. I was nervous when we put the mics on and stuff. And then like 20 minutes into it, I was just like, oh, let's make fun of Norm and Chad and like let's talk about this poker. And like I don't feel like I'm like an amazing poker player or something, but I feel very comfortable in the booth, just like providing some like light commentary, joking around and like making sure that people are like entertained. And I think that's like a cool thing to like realize like I've grown a lot in the last like 20 years of my life, from like scared person to like being able to talk to 500,000 people and be like, no sweat. Worry about it later if I say something stupid.
Yeah, and or criticize a play knowing people might criticize you for your thoughts on that.
For sure.
Play.
And that's where I think like I feel like I'm not this like full of myself like poker player. Like I understand like when I'm providing commentary, I'm like it's like layman almost, like, or I'm just like, hey, if someone asked me how to play this hand, like what would I say? And like I don't think that I feel like I'm better than the people that I'm talking about. Most of the time they're way better than me. So it's just like making sure the stream is entertaining instead of making sure that I'm like dominating these people who have no say in it.
Or there's also the other poker player who gets into the booth and is so terrified of offending anybody that they're just like, oh, that's a great play.
Yeah.
Every play is amazing, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, both of them are worse, right? Both sides of the spectrum there of like, I know everything and this idiot who made the final table doesn't deserve to be here. They're definitely, I've listened to commentary where I'm like, wow, how jealous is this guy?
We've heard that guy before.
Yeah, and then the other one where it's like, everything is great. Let's do the Doug Polk, like, you can check, raise, or fold, and everything is great. Like, doing that is also probably not.
All of your options are good.
Yeah.
You could even quit the tournament and everyone will love you. All right. Best swap or piece you've ever had of anybody?
Wow. Puppy. Have you noticed he's taken, there were 20 toys in that bag when we first started the interview.
Gone.
He took everyone out.
All
Best
gone.
swap or piece.
All right. I'll pay you, crouton.
Okay, I had 2% of Ryan Araquizo when he won the national championship.
Okay.
And that was kind of cool because we were just like, he was having a very hard time in his life where he's like clean up his life a lot. But maybe 2 nights before the national championship, I stayed up with him till 10 in the morning because he was having like a lot of issues. And at the end of that night, he was just like, we should swap something in this tournament. And I was just like, okay. And it was really cool because like I stayed up 10 hours later than I wanted to, like helping him out. And it turned into like $8,000. I was like, well, that was a sick hourly for helping your friend.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool that like it all came together. And like I feel like I helped him to like play well because he was like not having a great time. So
probably deserve a little bit more than that 2%.
I'll take
Just
8K.
saying, Ryan.
Sounds good.
Best poker player that we've never heard of.
Wow.
There's a chance to shout out
Yeah, I gotta
all
think
of
about
your lesser known.
This is so hard because I'm thinking like our podcast, the LFG podcast, like this is who we get. We get the people who are like, but they're not really unknown.
All right, let's talk about that. Well, good segue.
Okay. Yeah.
You are a co-host of the Let's Fucking Grind.
Yep.
Is that the? Are you guys even allowed to say the full?
The F is silent. We don't really know what it stands for.
Let's Effin' Grind podcast.
Yep.
With Chad Holloway.
Yeah.
I am jealous that you get a co-host. I don't have a co-host. I'm not jealous that it's Chad.
Yeah.
But
it is nice to have a co-host because, like, he is the more... What's funny is I used to be a lawyer. I should be the responsible one. He's the guy who's like, hey, we kind of have to record something. Hey, how about 11 in the morning? Here's an outline. And, like, he's the guy who's, like, keeping me on the ball, which is good. Because if not, I'd be like, yeah, I'm a podcaster. I do it, like, once every 3 years.
Well, he's also a former lawyer, isn't he? Or maybe he was going to law school.
He might have gone to, like, a year of law school. I have to get his whole background.
Well, that's crazy. You guys haven't had that talk yet.
No, it's like, who wants to talk about, like, the worst experiences?
You probably beat him. That's what I'm saying. It's like, you could one-up him in every story.
Yeah.
Just get him talking law stories and be like, oh, I got a better one.
Yeah, I'd be like, I'm sorry, my school's better than that. My grades are better than that. My LSAT's better than that. Yeah, if I ever want to beat him down, we'll ask him.
But basically, this podcast focuses on the mid-tier tournaments out there. And the stars of that circuit who don't normally get the love.
Yeah, which is
so
nice.
You should have a name, I think.
I feel like we've interviewed these people. We're, like, getting them all out there. Like, Josh Reichard. Like, people don't know Josh Reichard, but, like, he's famous in the Midwest. Like, he wins everything. So, like, when we interviewed him, it was maybe, like, a year and a half ago, he was like, people are like, oh, this new name. Like, he's not new now. Like, so we found some people who were, like, they were the underrated people, and then they went on to win, like, $500K that year. But, like, Katie Lindsay, we're going to interview her in a week or two. Like, people might not know her through poker besides being Mormon's wife. But, like, she's a good poker player. Like, she works on her game, and, like, she's someone who's, like, up and coming, and she just won a Venetian for, like, $50K. And, like, I wouldn't be surprised if she just, like, keeps the ball rolling. But, like, there are people who are, like, famous-ish from their personalities. But, like, I would say her then for, like, an underrated poker player that people should know. Yeah.
Shout out to Katie, Florida State alum, unfortunately. But her husband, Chris, has been on the podcast. And beautiful couple. Yeah, I'm wondering how much tutoring goes back and forth in that household.
We talked about this, too, which is so funny because, like, my boyfriend, Chris Horder, plays a lot of poker, is a lot better than me. He's been, like, a very serious, like, focused poker player.
Is that a fact?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
like
mean, are you not just selling yourself a little short?
No. When it opened in New
Both
Jersey,
bring different things to the table.
He was literally the best player in New Jersey the first year. So, yeah. For the first year that they offered online poker, he was the top ranked player. He's, like, solid strategy. He's also been, like, laser focused on one thing, which I think has helped him a lot. He was like, I'm a tournament player. I'm going to get good at tournaments. And, like, that has been his thing the whole time. I am, like, an ADD person who, like, enjoys poker. So I'm like, oh, let's go play 2-5. Let's commentate poker. Let's run a podcast. Let's play online tournaments. I'm going to play some, like, spin and goes. I have been bouncing around so much that, like, I don't feel like I've, like, focused on, like, becoming the best at something, where I think he did that, and, like, he did it. Like, he's very, very good. But I am so stubborn trying to learn things from him because of the relationships. Like, me and Katie talked about that. Like, we were like, we should just switch where, like, Chris can, like, coach her, and, like, Chris can coach me, because it's so hard. Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's so hard to, like, separate the relationship from, like, learning poker. Like, I more easily learn from other people because I just don't get offended when someone else picks me apart. But, like, there are times when I'll call him on the way home from, like, a very bad session, and I'll be like, listen to this, and all I want to do is vent that, like, some idiot sucked out, whatever. He's like, yeah, I would have bet the turn there, though. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, it's, like, the last thing you want to hear when you want sympathy. So I think that kind of, like, muddies the water between, like, a coaching and relationship situation.
So interesting. It's like when my wife is mad about something, she doesn't want me to come up with a solution.
That's the difference between guys and girls.
She just wants me to listen and say that sucks.
Yeah. And,
but, like, you're both poker players. How can he not offer his poker advice?
When I have a cooler head, like, it could be maybe the next day when I'm over it, when it's less of a raw emotion of, like, being up $1,000 than, like, losing $1,000 a session because of a pivotal hand or something. That is when I'm like, the emotion's too raw, and I still do feel like I'm tilting. Like, I'll take myself out of a game if I feel like that, and I'll just be driving home and I want to vent. That's, like, the worst time ever to tell me that I did it to myself. I want to hear it the next day. Like, the next day I'm like, do you think I should have bet the turn there, or, like, whatever, and then I'm open to it. But, like, we've gotten a little better at that, like, reading situations by being like, hey, right now I want sympathy, and I don't want to talk about how I'm a bonehead for this play. But then there's other times where, like, I think we're better at it when I'm, like, watching a stream or a commentator stream, and I pick out a hand from there where I'm like, what would you have done here? I'm emotionless. It's someone else's hand. I don't feel, like, attacked or something. It's really interesting.
Learn from their mistake.
It's a huge, like, personal shortcoming that I can't like learn from my own mistakes through him, but it's also like, hey, listen, if you can't fix it, don't just start fighting.
You're in the middle of a very important power struggle in your relationship, and I applaud you for it. I don't think you should feel bad about that at all.
Good. I won't work to change anything.
Okay. What was your worst job before poker? Well, you can't say law. We already talked about that.
No, and it paid well, so like I can't say worse because it's like that's why you're, I was
you
trading
have
my
any,
hours for a lot of money, and that's fine.
You have any bad teenage jobs?
I worked at a food store in a primarily retirement community.
What do you mean by a food store?
God.
A grocery store?
A grocery store. And it was like the funniest, worst job because I was so young, so I was just happy to be making gas money. But I worked in Monroe Township. Monroe Township is where I grew up. Very boring, very quiet. 60% of the town is retirement homes. So imagine a grocery store where like the average age of the customer is like dead. And the people would
Is this the Boca Raton of the North?
Basically. Oh my God. So I worked there and like I was just this young, like quiet, intimidated person and like would just get yelled at by old people. That was
Where are the Werthers?
And it made me realize like my theory on old people is like whatever you are in like your younger life just gets magnified one way or the other. So like very sweet people are the sweetest old people and bitter people just become like the biggest jerks ever. Like they like slam into people with their carts and like run over people. A lady threw multiple cans of cat food at my boss, at like the courtesy counter lady, just chucked him at her head because she was mad the coupons didn't work. But that was my worst job because it was just like dealing with some people who were just like terrible.
Doesn't sound fun.
No.
Doesn't sound fun at all.
Yeah, it's good to have done that.
What kind of an old person do you think you'll be?
I'm gonna have like 100 dogs, so I'll probably be like a hoarder, like a dog hoarder.
Magnified crouton then.
Yes. I think I'd be an okay old person because I have not grown up yet. So maybe when I'm like 80, if I make it there, I'll still be immature in every way and having fun.
That'll be fun. If not for poker, what would you be doing? This is interesting because you could just go take the bar again.
I just wouldn't. I don't think that I'd feel fulfillment in that. I have had some ideas for like companies I would try to start, but mainly I think if I wanted like a stable job, I would go teach because my parents were teachers and they had like a good life. And I
teach law, obviously.
Yeah, right. I think I would teach gym. My mom always used to say that because she was an English teacher, like language arts, and she'd come home with like a stack of essays to grade, and she'd be doing all these essays and stuff, and be like, "Man, I should just be a gym teacher. You don't have to bring anything home. You just like jog around and play dodgeball." And so she'd instill that in me. She's like, "If you're ever a teacher, be a gym teacher." I'm like, "Okay, I'll remember that." But now I'm like, what a great life they have, right?
I'm pretty sure it's changed. I think now the gym teacher is also the science teacher and also like monitors the lunchroom between 12 and 1.
I mean, they better do something because if not, that's a sweet job. Just like peg a bunch of kids with dodgeballs and make a pension.
Yeah, that's the way to live, right? It's summers off as well.
Yep.
Favorite tournament destination? You've been all over, right?
Hard Rock, Hollywood.
Oh, man.
It's amazing.
You would not believe how many people are saying that. Good job, Tony.
Tony Burns is great. He runs a great tournament. There's so many things that go into it. That's awesome. It's a great place to grow up. The rooms are great. The tournament room is awesome. Food is good. People are in a better mood there. It is like a vacation when people are there. Like people hang out by the pool. I feel like I'm asked to go out for drinks all the time after we bus. Like no one just like goes back to the room and sulks after they lose. The other thing,
which is something you do
like,
where?
What? I feel like other places, like I go there and it's like business, like even at Borgata, I'll like bust the 3,500. I'm not like, let's all go party. I'm like, that sucks. And I, like,
or
go
there's
home.
like a Casadie at night that you might as well play. That
or I'll
at
grind
midnight.
cash. Or like at Hard Rock, I feel like I don't grind cash. I just go have fun.
Now Tony's mad. He's like,
sorry, Tony.
Like,
I'll play
that's not what I want to hear.
Yeah, I play your tournaments and hang out. But yeah, I really like it there. And I feel like the people who grind in that area aren't like the best poker players in the world too. So it's like, it's not just that it's a cool place to play. It's also like a profitable place for a lot of people.
Yeah. So let's go to poker rules. Are there any that should be altered or eliminated or added?
Poker rules?
Yeah. Is there anything that's been bugging you lately at the tables?
I mean, I wish Big Blind Ante was a rule. That
you
it wasn't
want it to be universal
everywhere.
now?
Yeah, I want it to be universal. I feel like there's so few detractors from it. Like once they learn what it is, it's like the best thing ever. And it's easy on dealers. And I used to hate to be the person. I'm a little bit control freakish just a little bit, enough to be annoying and enough to be annoyed when someone is not posting their ante, I'd always be the person tapping the table like, it's on you, ante, and like, it's just another thing in your head that you don't want to be thinking about.
Yeah, that's not...
That would just like tick me off and get under my skin. So like I hate being that person, so I try to ignore it, and then the dealer is like the person tapping.
You are giving every one of your opponents some serious ammo.
But yeah,
moving
that's
forward.
Why like, big blind ante should be a rule. That's the end of that.
Next time I'm at your table, it'll be a little slow putting out that ante. Get you to blow up at a spot.
Yep.
Get a Jeffrey Lissandro moment going there.
Yeah, that was so... I mean, that made it all worth it. That kind of makes me think we should just have ante per player.
Right?
Because that was the
we
best.
Would never have had that moment.
Yeah, and then I like when they showed it on ESPN, they showed Jeffrey posting his ante. It was like the best ever. Because like,
we filmed this.
It. Yeah.
Headphones on at the table? Yes or no?
I don't usually wear them, but I think people should be able to.
What's that?
What? Don't usually wear them. That was like 10 years ago. I think probably 10% of the time I wear them.
What kind of music are you listening to? Listening to your own podcast?
I like listening to comedy radio and stuff like that. Like raw comedy radio on Pandora is pretty good.
Who are your comedians? Because I'm a bit of a comedian nerd.
Well, rest in peace, Louis C.K., because I can't really listen to him anymore.
Oh, God, isn't it suck when the people turn out to be shitbags and now you can't listen anymore?
It sucks, too, because normally I would say, like, separate their art from their shitty personality, but so much of his, like, shtick revolves around, like, stuff that, like, the things he's making fun of or the stuff he was doing, and I, like, can't listen to him anymore.
No, his comedy was all about his personal life, and you're just like, well...
Now it's kind of creepy. Mitch Hedberg, forever.
Yeah.
He was my favorite, and so like I can always listen to him, and my favorite thing that he says, he goes, a dog is in the permanent push-up position. And like I think of it so many times when I see Crouton like stretching his neck, I'm like, man, he's been in the push-up position all day, it must be exhausting.
We used to go to Krispy Kreme drunk late at night, and
do you want a receipt?
And if they asked for a receipt, we'd be like, we don't need to bring ink and paper into this.
Like, thank you for the receipt, I'll file it under D for donut. Who's your favorite?
I go back and forth. I mean, right now, if I had to pick my maybe Kumail Nanjiani, I really like a lot.
I love his Twitter.
Yeah,
he's got some good stuff to say.
Although he's probably not doing stand-up anymore.
He got too famous with movies and stuff.
Exactly,
right?
Exactly. All right, let's move on to the final question of the podcast. Mm-hmm. We end the podcast the same way every time, with a question from the random question generator. When was the last time you changed your opinion about something major?
Oh man, what if I just say never?
I'm a lawyer and I'm stubborn.
That is a huge feature of most lawyers. That's a really hard question to think about.
Isn't that really hard?
Yeah. You
want to feel like you've been woke your whole life, but...
Yeah. Oh man.
Anything you just come around on. Anything you...
Oh, definitely. Okay, so I was a cat person my whole life. Crouton is the inspiration for this.
Oh.
My whole life. I would say till I was like 25, I've been like cats over dogs all day. Like I like snuggly animals that like want to like hang out and just like not mess up your stuff.
You must have had one of the good cats growing up.
I've had good cats. Like
I did not have any of those.
Definitely ran good. I've met jerk cats too, the ones that just like scratch you and stuff. But I never had those. I had the ones that like sit on your lap and kind of like just are like enjoyable to be around and very calm. And I thought that's what pets were. They're like calm. They like to get like pet and they just sit there.
That's how my pugs are.
Dude, Crouton, I have come full circle. Like I still like cats mostly because he likes cats. He's very into like meeting cats and stuff. But like having a dog companion, I feel so bad for all the dogs that I've like naysayed my whole life with like dogs drool, whatever. Nope, I've come full circle or come half circle. I have 180. Dogs rule. Cats are in second place now.
I've come full circle and I still love cats. Fuck dogs.
Yeah, so I've come half circle.
This, you see, awesome. But you are spoiled with a beautiful pup.
Yep.
Who just stopped because he heard us talking about him, I think.
He did, actually. He's a very good boy, and he does both. Like, he'll come snuggle me. Like, when it's nighttime and, like, we've already had our... I can't even say the word W-A-L-K. When we've already done that, and we're, like, watching TV, or if I'm studying, or if I'm playing poker, he'll, like, lay alongside of me and do cat stuff, which is just, like, lay on your lap.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so he's great. So that's, like, the last time I've, like, changed my mind 10 years ago.
He'll also become more of a lap dog as you age.
Yes.
Which is perfect.
And we've said that. Like, he's going to be an amazing old man dog because he's just, like, a very loving animal.
Yeah. Dogs over cats, but that's because of my allergies. I think if I didn't have the allergies, I might
Chris
have a different
pretends to
opinion.
have allergies because he doesn't like cats.
I do the same thing with peanut butter.
You just hate it?
It's
I
disgusting.
do the same thing with seafood. So I hate seafood. So I'll go to a
All
restaurant
seafood?
and be like, I'm allergic. Just keep it out of my food.
All
of it.
seafood.
All of it. Get
Like,
it out of my face.
Will you do like shrimp?
No.
Lobster?
No.
A little like fake imitation
No.
crab?
No. Get it
All right,
off
so
my plate. It
you
doesn't
hear that,
taste like,
wife? I'm not that bad.
Yeah.
At least I eat some of the things.
It doesn't taste like food to me. Like,
Yeah.
I'll eat it if I like need sustenance, but it seriously doesn't taste like food.
The smell gets me.
It's gross.
The other day, she ordered what was it, crab fried rice from the Thai food, and the smell was like, it tasted great. I just couldn't get through it.
Yeah.
Anyway, you have people here, so it's time to end this podcast. Jamie, thank you so much for coming on the Poker Stories podcast.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for having Crouton as well. He got to chew and be loud the whole time.
Crouton, the new star of the podcast. Thanks. That's the show. Thank you once again, Miss Jamie Kerstetter. She proudly reps Run Good gear, so make sure you check out Run Good. Also, be sure to follow her on Twitter at Jamie Kerstetter. And you can listen to her podcast with co-host Chad Holloway called LFG, or Let's Effin' Grind, which is all about the grinders on the mid-stakes tournament scene. Please rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast. Leave that rating and review and let us know about it with an email to pokerstories@cardplayer.com for a free digital subscription to Card Player magazine. Thanks for listening.